for Quaid, yes. But
Yeah,
that's
let's
the
wait.
thing.
Let's
No,
wait.
no. You can go ahead and say it because what you're saying needs to be said. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Um, I am Nick Turek. Hello. Uh, I am a constant in Bramble's games and have some experience working behind the scenes in the tabletop industry. Um,
You want to
I am,
you want to let our guest
yeah, everyone
introduce
else.
himself first?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Everybody, my name is Phil. I run the channel Podfinder on YouTube. I have been playing a Pathfinder, or at least a version of Pathfinder 1E for probably about on and off for about 10 years now. Kind of a lore nerd, so I definitely read and talk about Pathfinder more than I play. And I am kind of the Runelords guy on YouTube. So this was my campaign that I've been waiting for a very long time.
Thank goodness. Because without you, we would be lost right now. The 12 Days of Sinmas saved me so much heartache in understanding who some of these people are. And
Yeah.
Like Nick Dirac was about to say, the average player will not know. I'm sorry I interrupted you, Nick.
Oh, yeah, no, you're good. Tony, go ahead.
I'm Tony. I'm a frequent Brambles tables, but besides playing Pathfinder, I play other tabletop RPGs. I even run a few games for people in real life, but also online. And just overall a fan of the role-playing game. Coming into this as a player view, but also just finally interested to know where the Runelords come from after seeing so many sources off of the not Paizo site, the Net Archive of Nephis. I, I'm excited to get my nitty gritty in here and see what's really going on here. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming, sir. One of the things about having an IT specialist in the game is always knowing that technology will fail and not to be discouraged because of it.
Exactly. It's
And
not like it's perfect.
yeah. And we've got the professional TTRPG editor with us, Nick Dirac, who is here to make us feel better about when, other kinds of mistakes happen. Because nobody's perfect.
I mean, I am, but besides that, of course.
I mean, we know that, but you have to rub it into
yeah.
The villain of this AP might take issue with that statement, Bramble.
Aww. Well, he's been out of the loop for a while now. I think, he needs to get his groove back a little bit.
Well, he's certainly trying. I'll give him that.
Would you like to take a look at him? Or maybe Sorcerin, to get us started, just to, set expectations. Expectations management.
Yeah. I mean, I can start things up. Well, okay. Before we do anything, I think, Nick, you were making a really, really good point of there are people who are going to be coming in blind, and unfortunately that is like the worst possible way to come into this AP.
It seemed like it from reading
it's really unfriendly to new players. It is. If you are going in completely blind, you are missing out on a ton. Now, I think you could have fun because the parts that are fun regardless, but you are missing out on so much if you don't know the context for why is there a giant elephant on the cover or the art on the second page? Why is that? Who are these two wizards that are fighting each other?
And
if you're coming in blind, you are missing the point of this AP, which is really frustrating because it's the first mythic AP for 2E, and a lot of people are going to come in blind just because it's mythic.
And I'm sitting here what a dumb name, the Peacocks. And I'm sitting here, I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know any of their history. I don't have any idea the significance of these cities and why,
it was buried.
I don't know the significance of like why she set up shop in her, rival city. Who is Xanderghoul? Who are all of these Runelords? Like for me, coming into this, I am confused.
Okay.
The set pieces are cool.
Yeah.
Like the fights are cool. I have no issue with any of that. But I think, like you're saying, because I purposefully wanted to go into this knowing zero.
Yeah.
Because I think it is going to show when we do this, but
Yeah.
I don't know who anyone is. I have no idea the significance behind any of these locations. But we'll get into the specifics of each chapter as we go. But I think that's just like my initial onset opinion is cool, but who?
Yeah. And see, I have the exact opposite problem. I come in knowing everything. So for those of you who maybe haven't seen my videos, last year I did what I called the 12 Days of Sinmas, which was a complete review of all of the pre-Earthfall history that we know about ancient Thassalon, which is where the Runelords come from. I listed everything we know about every Runelord that ever existed up until the time of Earthfall. Because the history is spread across like 46 different source books, so it's really hard to put it all together.
Plus, you did that massive timeline.
I also did the timeline. Yes, Paizo has done timelines in the past. I like the ones that they've put together, like the one on the wiki. I think that was made by a fan, but it's pretty solid. I just broke it up into a little more detail with like specific events. So like, I did put a timeline out there, but basically I'm coming in with the exact opposite of like, no, I know who all of these people are and I can tell you what they added and changed and what is different. Like they definitely made changes. There's one in book 2 that I'm kind of mad about, but we'll get to that next time. But yeah, I'm coming in from the exact opposite perspective. So I think this will be a useful conversation. I appreciate you coming in blind on this one, Nick, because I think that's going to help the conversation be a little more balanced.
It's exactly why I asked Tony and Quaid to be here as well. Quaid, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, Quaid, and I do a lot of GM stuff, but I don't really post stuff on social media or have a social media presence. But I do run a lot of games and run a lot of things through Bramble. So, and I get a lot of opinions. And I play Starfinder and what was it called? And 2E. I also used to do a lot of 5E, and then a little bit of everything. And kind of just sometimes I have random ideas. And when I looked through this adventure, I focused a little bit on like first impressions. Like if someone just picked up this book from the store, what would they think?
Yeah. What do you think, sir? I mean, like, what's a Runelord? I mean, I know you called them Edgelords.
Yep. Well, that was the first thing when I saw that. I thought they were Edgelords. Because it was like
some of them you are very right.
Yeah. But so just by looking at the book and like if I was just like flipping through the pages, right? The art's amazing. It really draws you in. It has that kind of peacock effigy around everything.
Yeah.
And that honestly left me the question, like, what the hell is the deal with the peacock going on? So and then overall they have cool enemies to look at, and then there's a lot of maps and a lot of like I guess catchy phrases and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I went through it like top to down, well, I'm probably 3/4 away of like combing through it, like actually I wouldn't say too critically, but like not just glancing at it. There was a couple things I think I would have changed, but that newer GMs might not. And I did like the amount of text they had on some of the sections where it was actually giving background information either on the city or the campaign overview. But it does get there's a lot of word soup when it comes to names, events,
Completely.
timelines, to the point where if I was running this, I would probably have a notebook and I'd have to like basically make my own cheat sheet, which one of the things I said, why don't they have like a GM cheat sheet on a page that someone could literally print out and put on their GM screen
Dear
with
Lord.
names? No, Runelords, okay. But like that was one of the ideas. Like, why don't they do this? Because that'd be cool if they had names or events or DCs or hey, here's the rules on the chase mechanics, which we use a lot in here, or here's just unique tags, or here's the mythic rules. I also know almost nothing about mythic points, or because I have been completely like blinded by that. Just haven't had time to really look into it, but I was at least able to infer from what I do know.
I'm here to help explain that because I reviewed War of the Immortals before we go into that. I'll be explaining Mythic Calling and Mythic Destiny as we get started with our very first exposition tart. There we go. But Tony, before we get started, we need to hear from you. What is a Runelord?
Me, I have no idea. But you know what? I'm through reading through these, especially the chapter 1 portion of this module. I can say I'm a little invested in the Runelords are, as well as their rise and fall in power. Seeing this vacuum of power being essentially created, and then all these other Runelords coming alive to grab at it. It did catch me, and I kind of like the vibe of that.
All right. So you like their legacy. Yes. You like the artifacts they left behind. You like the magic that they did. You might have heard of something called a rune well that might have been used in, say, Strength of Thousands when you talked to a certain queen you were spying on in her boudoir by accident.
That was one of the other speakers, I'll have you know, and we had to put them away. But yeah,
put them away,
right.
You say?
A little timeout, nothing too crazy. But sincerely, yes, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. I coming to this as a player, I'm very enriched or enwrapped in a lot of what the Runelords are putting down. I'm loving a lot of the artifact names, like the Eye of Arrogance. It is very prominent. Reading that line alone, or at least that title alone, got me fuel to read more into this. So I'm excited to learn more about the Runelords.
Okay. Well, very basic things about the Runelords. They used to be, off of the Valors, but unfortunately, because of their arrogance and because they got this magical high, they kind of turned to the Sins. And the Sins are really where they derive their powers from, because there's certain schools of magic kind of make you feel like a euphoric high. And each of the schools of magic, back when there were schools, there's no more schools now. So that alone, the Runelords are a little bit dated. Magic has changed since then. We have got magical schools all over the place, and there is a Runelord school and stuff. But part of what made them who they were the original way that magic was structured for 3rd edition and Pathfinder. So we'll get a little bit of a disconnect there. And Phil, feel free to correct me at any time.
I mean, you're basically right. So 3.5 3rd edition, there were 8 schools of magic. They assigned 7 of them to one of the deadly sins from Christian mythology, and then basically said, okay, divination doesn't count because, I don't know. Well, actually, the reason is because back in the day, there weren't as many divination spells. There are now, but was kind of a holdover from the old days. Now that they can't do the 8 schools anymore, disconnected. I kind of like what they've done with like the new edicts and anathemas kind of defining the schools rather than the strict like old school schools of like capital S schools of magic. So, but you basically hit the nail on the head.
Okay. So you said right off the bat there was no Runelord of divination. Why does this lady exist?
There's not supposed to be. There's not supposed to be.
What? Where did James pull this woman from? Where it's just like, hello, I've lived in the Dreamlands this whole time. I failed to make my rune well. Contacting you right now. Hello, mythic players. Like I'd like to explain, why you're needed and everything.
Yep. So, for anyone watching this after the fact who maybe hasn't read through the first chapter yet, you receive a vision from somebody called Liralaroo. I hate that name. I absolutely hate that name. James usually cooks with names, and this is not one of them. So who here has read or played Seven Dooms for Sandpoint?
I
read it.
have. I have gone through
Okay.
it in its synopsis, and I know the main
Yep.
points.
Yeah.
I actually
So
thought it was decent
It-
as well.
Is that the endpoint
State-
one from Pathfinder 1E, or are we talking about? Is that the new?
no.
one?
Seven Dooms is the 200th AP book, which was released in 2024 or 2023.
Okay.
I don't
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I've read through it and was almost about to run it.
Yeah, so basically, Seven Dooms is kind of a stealth prequel to Revenge of the Runelords in the sense that it explains who Liralaroo is, but you don't. And having read both of them, so as much of Revenges is out right now, I don't actually recommend running the same PCs through both campaigns. It just doesn't make sense thematically.
Mhm.
One is very much a Sandpoint story, and the other one is gods and monsters. Liralaroo is basically a magical agent, a student of Karzug, who got sent to a field office. I'm not going to get into too many more spoilers than that, but basically, she was like, "Hey, this divination magic is actually way more powerful than we give it credit for," and there might actually be a mechanical reason for that because basically, when the Runelords were conceived of as a concept, in the meta narrative, there just weren't that many divination spells, and as Pathfinder has evolved as a system, there are more divination spells. So you could see the point of like, oh, divination just evolved as a school in universe and out of universe, and now Liralaroo is thinking, oh, this is actually way more powerful than Zin thought it was. And she convinced herself, like, I'm just going to give up transmutation and try to become a Runelord of a new school with her chosen sin of vainglory, which I still don't know how that's different from pride. They've tried to explain it, but it's just a synonym for pride. I don't get it.
I do gotta say though, I do like the idea of Yalaru doing a magic audit. I'm like, wait a second,
Yeah.
this ain't half bad. What are we waiting
Yeah.
here for?
Well, and especially because like one of the reasons she was allowed to go to a field office in the first place is because she was such an incredibly effective spy because she was a master of divination magic. And then she gave up transmutation even more and specialized even harder to the point where she was able to at least try to make a rune well. Now, from what I can tell, it's not clear if she failed because the magic wasn't working or if she failed because she ran out of time. I think it's the latter.
It sounded like time when I read it.
Yeah, which implies that it is entirely possible to make a rune well of vainglory. I would be very curious if that is in fact possible.
Well, she fled to the Dreamlands, which is incredibly appropriate if you've read Shades of Blood, because Shades of Blood has to do extremely with a weapon or a defense mechanism of Xanderghoul that took its power from the Dreamlands and would basically make prisoners within the Aslanti dungeon go to sleep. That is such a good connecting point to Revenge of the Runelords.
Mm-hmm.
If only we had her instead of the magical jellyfish, that would have made so much more sense.
We can't talk about the flaws of Shades of Blood right now. But
It's okay, because Myth Speakers also has the good connection point. She does appear at the end and gives you the visage that this side of the world needs you, which brings us into what Podfinder was saying about she contacts you in the dream to basically explain what's happening.
Yep. And thus kicking off probably my favorite sequence in the entire AP. These first 5 pages of actual adventure, not counting like the adventure summary at the beginning, this was my favorite section in the entire book. And I was like, "Ooh, we're cooking." And then we got to Zinchalas, and I was like, "Oh." But this is my favorite part right here. The Liralaroo into the Ashen Man stuff. I thought this was absolutely brilliant. If you're a weird GM like me who does a ton of prep work.
Here's the other problem that I think a lot of people are going to have. They're not going to know who the hell the Ashen Man is.
Yes, we do. He's the
If
Red
only
Herring
there
from
was
Curtain Call.
I understand
he's-
that.
Okay.
I will say, when I was
Actually-
reading the campaign overview, when I saw the Ashen Man like did this, I was like, "Wait, where the fuck did this guy come from?" Well,
Mhm.
like I was like, he just flew in. Like,
So I've actually been doing research on this for reasons I will not talk about yet, but which will become apparent in 2 weeks. Um, he's actually a big deal. He's just a stealth villain that's been in a lot of Pathfinder products for.
Yeah.
He's been in things since 2018. So he was in the Sandpoint. He was referenced in the Sandpoint campaign guide from 2018. He was in Doomsday Dawn, the playtest adventure. I did not realize it was that important to the canon, but whatever. I'm definitely not mad that I had to go buy that. He's been referenced in 3 different articles in the Absalom book, and then he was also kind of a secondary villain in Malevolence. So he actually is in a lot of different things, but he's
Yeah,
always in the shadows. This is the most direct he's ever been.
Mentioned significantly in Curtain Call as well.
Mhm,
Was,
mhm.
I was supposed to say.
so he's not just a retcon villain.
No,
He's been here the
he's
whole
been
time.
he's been here for about 6 years, but if you're not reading really carefully, you will miss him.
but yes, this sequence is really freaking cool.
This is
Yep.
exactly why I wanted to focus this much with my time and effort on the resources that I've produced. I wanted to make cards that would outline the chase sequence properly with the backdrop and everything, have it for the players to do. And if you would like, please go into 3D dice settings and turn on our unofficial Runelord dice set.
Oh, the server is up. I think there's only me and you in here, Bramble.
Oh, that's okay. For the people who
Oh, I
want
haven't.
to
Hang
join
on, I
us.
haven't clicked in yet.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm
I've
trying
done.
to find the link again.
I will post the link for you guys. Don't worry.
Thank you.
So
I got that bookmarked.
I very much wanted to take a page from Pondfinder's book and add something to the module. And I hope you think I've succeeded, because I want you to know that I'm very much in support of even sequels of sequels like this. But can it stand on its own? So hopefully with the effort that I've invested, that you can see that some of the feedback is worthwhile that I have to give.
So just before we like jump into everything, as someone who knows nothing about the Runelords, like this is cool. But like, other than that, it's incredibly subsystem heavy. Chapter 2 is super short.
We're not there yet.
I just want to say, I don't think this can stand on its own unless you know who the Runelords are. I don't think so.
Well, we're going to explore it in terms of the narrative and the mechanics, not just the mechanics this time, because we've received word directly from the creative director and developer themselves saying, like, that's the type of feedback they want to see. They're not interested in just the, dismissing for mechanics thing. If we could give that level of feedback anymore, I would, but they're cutting off avenues of the feedback and they're requesting specific things on it now. So I have to tailor it a certain way that they are willing to listen. But I do agree with you there.
I mean, I'll still say whatever I want, because sometimes you're
Yes!
reaching out to the people. I don't care about what they think.
Yes, and that's exactly
they take-
why. Go ahead.
I mean, like, they can close their ears, but sometimes it's it's generally the people who vote.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I agree with both of you. I'm not trying to cut you off. I agree with both of you, but we can't just jump around like that and say like subsystem heavy and leave it at that. As like,
oh yeah, no, I was just trying to be incredibly quick with so we can actually get into it. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I was doing here, because the sequence, like Podfinder says, is basically taking you from the mythic calling to the mythic destiny. You don't yet have your mythic destiny, and because Quaid doesn't know, I want to explain it a little bit. The mythic calling is basically what you get at the lower levels that starts you on the mythic path. You get like the calling of the sage, the calling of the protector, things like that. Instead of hero points, they're replaced with mythic points. So when you do re-roll, or you wish to roll something at mythic proficiency, it's incredibly higher. These points are massively better than hero points because mythic proficiency takes you to a new level beyond, you know, human or humanoid limits. You're basically that of a demigod at this point.
Plus,
You mean
plus
like a
10
Runelord?
to your, you have a plus 10 to your roll, so you're higher than legendary proficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And to answer Tony's question, at level 12 you can be a Runelord.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from what I saw, there was a lot of like when I just skimmed through the different mythic paths and it mentioned that, I was like, oh, that's actually a good mix, I think, you know.
Mhm.
Like if they had like only like 5 or 6, and then the one I was like, man, they don't have this one, and then I like reread. I'm like, oh no, I just misread it because I was like, where's the legend? Where's the one where it's like, no, I don't need anyone else. I'm just a man. Like,
Yeah, War of the Immortals is where the base ones are, like Apocalypse Rider and things like that. Apocalypse Rider, extremely good choice for this AP because they ensure that things finally end. Perfect for the villain.
Yeah,
So-
good for the villains, not for the heroes.
Yeah.
You said perfect. I'm like, no, don't pick that one.
me when I play this and I pick that.
Hey, it works. It works. So the Ashen Man comes in and basically just disrupts what Lalaru is doing, and instead of this vision of hope and taking you into the next step of your power, you have to survive this gauntlet in the form of a chase that basically shows how the Ashen Man, or whomever is responsible, in this case I just picked Tarbathon randomly because I know Tarbathon is coming, and all these agents of chaos and destruction just destroy the world as it falls apart, you know, in front of you. Even though it's a dream, there are still consequences, and you'll suffer those later in case you fail. But if you do get through it, by the end of it, you get your mythic destiny, which is much better than the mythic calling. And then, Tony, then you can be a Runelord. A real Runelord.
Can't
What-
wait.
what's interesting is when I was reading this, I saw like the different like here's how you get your powers in the vision. I was like, oh, that'd be actually an interesting way to have people introduced to their characters. You just start with that, you know. Hey, introduce your characters in the way you think about it, you know.
It would be a better storytelling device if you had to explain to Lalaru, you know, like who you are and what you were doing and why did you take me away from what I'm doing. Well, this is more important.
Mhm. Yeah, actually, I had a note when I was reviewing this of like this like message system with Larallaru is a really good opportunity to basically, if the players are up for it, have them write a scene introducing their character, because she can manipulate the dreamscape to kind of make it real for the other players. So if your characters don't know each other, it's a really good opportunity to get to know each other. And then once the GM has all those scenes like in advance, they could tweak kind of the transition into the Ashen Man stuff pretty easily to feel like, oh, he corrupted all of those scenes like together, and now it's this shared nightmare.
Mhm.
It's wonderful, actually. I like that idea a lot.
A lot of player investment though, so you know, right game group, I think it would work really well.
Yeah, that goes
But-
with a lot of things. Like there's a lot where it's like, man, this intro. The thing is that, like, when they write this, it's hard for them to write intros like that because a lot of times, like, okay, how do we write it to where this gets the idea out without being too like specialized or like pigeonholed into an idea. But I love it when they throw other ideas in. Like they're like, hey, here's our idea, or you could give and then just do a quick summary of other ideas. I like when they give I wouldn't say options, but they at least trying to poke and prod and make it seem like you could do other things.
Yeah,
Because some people and some GMs, new ones, just need that little like change it. Oh yeah, I could do that.
I also love the idea here of if you ran an adventure first, like one of the other Paizo adventures, and literally bringing the players back to the map scene when they're level 1, like the same map scene. You can do a lot of fun stuff with these dream sequences to like warp their memories.
Oh yeah.
I thought this was very well executed. Did not care about the subsystems. I thought it was a wonderful introduction because you're like into it immediately. Like, okay, what the is going on?
Yeah, as far as chase goes, this is, for how short it is, this is probably the best implementation of a chase I've seen on only like 2/3 of a page. It was tight, it was efficient, it was really really thematic. This was rock solid. This was excellent use of page space to get the story off to a really fast clip.
But
Dude, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, but as this transition goes, does that momentum stay?
No, not at all.
I agree.
Nope.
I don't think so either.
It falls flat on its face, unfortunately, and I have ways to fix it in my head, but it slows to a crawl, especially if you've never played Return of the Runelords. But
and we're not really skipping much because you then are just going to go to a city. These places are fine if you stay in them.
But they get destroyed and you have to move
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah. This was a thing that I really have an issue with. Like starting on, let's see.
Before we go there, one of the things I liked about the chase is that they actually had a failure mechanic that actually would have impact. Because a lot of times, a lot of the failures for either chases or events like that was like, oh well, the plot must continue, or it's just damage that just gets street wounded off. So I actually enjoyed when they're like, hey, here's what happens if they fail to overcome these obstacles, and actually having one of the effects be lingering, so they can, it's something that they will realize later. But because there's sometimes where you see this, you're like, oh, this is an obstacle. Well, what happens if they fail it? Nothing.
Damage. Yeah, and you're like, oh, 6d6 bludgeoning damage. You're like, okay, cool.
Yep. And then the paladin's like, lay on hands, I wait 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's only a problem if you don't have downtime.
Which we have a lot of downtime coming up very soon.
There's a lot of downtime in general in just book 1.
Downtime, but downtime where it doesn't make narrative sense to use it for like crafting for most of it, which is frustrating, which is going to be frustrating to some characters, I think.
You're like the alchemist and the inventor, and you're like, I would like to. Okay.
It's like, what do you mean we have to cover 40 miles in a single day? I'm exaggerating, but the point stands.
Yes.
I think it's 10 miles.
It's not nearly that much, but
yeah,
it's enough that you can't craft.
It's not enough weight behind it.
Plus, you're trying to get 10,000 children to follow you at the same time there are dragons after you. So yes, there are other factors just besides yourself. Still, as a DM, I would rule spending a mythic point would help you craft faster.
Absolutely.
So, I guess to try and wean us back into the right direction, we go to a Runelord city, and Sorcerin. I don't see. Well, I don't know anything. Anymore. I don't know anything about anyone.
So Sorcerin has abandoned the title of Runelord, but she is the Runelord of Lust. She won't use the title anymore. She is the only Runelord of Lust. She was never deposed. She is the only one who, or whatever the word is, she's never dethroned, which makes her a big deal. She's the most powerful ever. Second most powerful ever.
And her goal, as far as I'm aware, which is really friggin' cool, is to like open up this mecha portal hub to create these vast trade networks and use her Runelord technology to enrich these places. I think it mentioned like Magnamar. You could set up a portal connection there specifically, and like
Absalom.
visibly enhance Absalom was the hub, I think, first. But yeah, I thought that was a really cool idea that should have been expanded more upon. But I understand the cult and having to move the plot along. But
The elves thought of it first.
not knowing who anyone is, not knowing who what his name is, Xanderghoul is, not knowing who any of these people are, I had a hard time connecting with a lot of this stuff. It's just like Quaid said, a lot of word soup, a lot of stuff that the players will never find out. There's so much GM facing information in these chapters that I feel like they're really short for the players, like the chapters themselves, because there's so much GM facing expositional dialogue, which is absolutely necessary for the GM. Because I'm like, they're like the Rune Lord of Greed, and he's bringing him back but he's not actually the Rune Lord of Greed. He's a shade. And I'm like, dude, what the hell, huh?
Have you ever read the final book of Rise of the Runelords? Because it has the exact same problem.
No, see, that's the problem. I read nothing. I went in completely blind. The only thing I know about Runelords is what I learned about them in what's the Corvosa?
101 or 102?
No, sorry. Just the Corvosa.
That's a prerequisite.
Oh man, if all you know is Curse, you really are coming in blind.
Right. So all I know is Curse and then the follow-up. So like I know that there's a Runelord city under Corvosa. That's it. That's all I know. So the only thing I know is Crimson Throne or whatever it's called, and then the follow-up regular adventure, which is Shadows at Sundown or
Shadows
something.
at Sundown or something like that.
Yeah, so that's the only like Runelord stuff I have. So for me, none of these people, I don't care about who these people are. They're just another Pathfinder character. They don't have significance to me. They and I think that is a significant detriment that we're going to run into throughout this campaign, because I think they rely on that like remember
this book has member real bad.
They're supposed to be self-contained, but this one unfortunately suffers from being a sequel of a sequel.
It's worse than that. It's a sequel of a sequel of a sequel of the first one. It's real bad. This is the 4th AP in the Runelord series, and this cleric you meet, Ayava, if you don't know that she's from Return of the Runelords, it's like, okay, why are you special, and why did you get art?
Because
we meet you for this, and that's it.
Yeah.
I wonder how many writers there have been in the APs for the Runelords.
15.
I'd have to check, but it's over 12. It might be above 18. Just for the APs, that doesn't count the adventures or the society scenarios,
or the back matter who have different writers.
Which I would count those. That'd be I'll just say like mainline APs, right? Like each chapter, like different person, but like
it's definitely over 12.
So has this cult ever come up before?
This is a new cult, but this cult of the Risen of the Trinity Star, no, they've never come up before, but that actually that's fine, because it's kind of a grand tradition at this point of Xanderghoul just forming new cults. That this is kind of what he does when he comes back to power. So in that regard, you're not missing anything. They really are this new.
Is Xanderghoul Palpatine?
He's not Palpatine. He's like, what if Palpatine was not that ugly?
Yeah, he's pretty boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's basically a godling, and inside of him, he made an alter ego. He's secretly a furry. The peacock spirit is him.
Yep. Oh, that's who. Yeah, the peacock spirit is Xanderghoul. He got his god spark, he didn't want to be known as he didn't want it and him to be the same thing, because it was way more useful for him to manipulate that religion to build up his own power, like as a mortal.
Understood. See,
Wish they had the peacock feathers be like a popped collar. Honestly, it would have given him such a like
A
like
good
a
look.
dude.
Oh, he
it's just
does have it as a
vibe.
popped collar in most of his official art.
Okay,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Nice.
all right. Then they at least portrayed some of it because I saw it. I'm like, oh, they were so close.
I was gonna say
yeah,
even like the
Oh.
peacock motif in the AP is like, huh?
Or two pop collars. That'd be no. That's an Olaf.
okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
so I think just my problem with the adventure path is it suffers for me from a who?
Mhm.
Huh?
Mhm.
Who?
I had to watch 13 hours of Phil's videos to understand who the Runelords were. That was
I had
was
to write 13 hours of video.
Which like 40 hours of writing. Yeah. Which okay, I'm going to say outright is going to be a detriment to this AP. It's got cool set
100%.
pieces. It does, but your average player, and like I am a GM who has run and read basically everything 2E, and I have no
Mhm.
idea who the hell any of these people are.
Mhm.
So when you're making like someone come into this with like having them, you must go to YouTube, you must read our 1E content to understand.
and we didn't need that for Ruby Phoenix. I chose to do that
No.
optionally.
Mhm. Then if you just compare like the two mythic APs, this one to Wrath of the Righteous, you do not need any backstory in Wrath of the Righteous to know what is going on, why you want to fight
World
the bad
wounds,
guys,
demons,
and what
bad.
you're there to do.
Go.
Yep. It's
Hmm.
it's the same reason you play Doom. It's like, yeah, I want to kill demons. That's the most simple motivation in the world.
Mhm.
And
It's
so
like,
like
if you do have the backstory, it's like with this one, it felt like it's the salt and pepper needed versus just other spices to enhance. Like this is,
Mhm.
it's
So-
missing
Yeah.
the meat.
my takeaway, not knowing who the Runelords are, is that the actual villain of this is the Ashen Man. It's not the Runelords.
Where did the Ashen
get
Man
that
go?
movie.
Is he coming back?
I'm
He
assuming
seems to
we're
be the
gonna fight him
master
in-
manipulator here. I think
Mhm.
like he seems to be the master manipulator here, who is like pushing the Trinity Star and trying to push our destinies away from like what is happening, right? Like is the villain Xanderghoul? Like is Xanderghoul the level 18 villain and like the Ashen Man the level 20 villain?
I would be shocked if they did that, because Xanderghoul is the biggest bad of big bads. Like, he's stronger than Tarbathon. They've statted them both, and Xanderghoul is stronger. Like,
So if we
If-
kill Xanderghoul, that means we can kill Tarbathon with the same characters?
theoretically, but bear in mind, there might be some plot BS as to why you're strong enough to kill Xanderghoul. Like, it might not be a 1-to-1 comparison.
I appreciate the pun, sir. Thank you.
So we get to Zin. How do I say it?
Zinshalast?
Eurythnia.
There you go.
Zinshalast, which has been renamed Zin Eurythnia.
Right, not the left one, the right one.
Because inside.
And we're like, it's not a festival, but it's a festival. Starting off, of like welcoming people to this what is supposed to be a grand opening of like this portal network, and then it's interrupted.
Well, and even before that, we do have a very, very tiny dungeon that we explore.
Yeah,
Yes,
of
because
course.
we need to know it isn't Mithril anymore. It's Dawn Silver.
Yeah, it's Dawn Silver. Yes.
Mhm.
I think
It
that's
was-
my problem with like book chapter 1 and 2. There's like 2 fights in each chapter, and they're both like okay.
Yeah, I don't like the Dawn Silver Forge as a dungeon. I like the final boss fight, but again, that's because I know who Runelord Gimel is, and I read that and I was like, oh shit. Like, I know who this is. The fact that we're fighting him first is a big deal.
He's a
I've been
snake.
doing
And-
a lot of custom like design, custom like encounters for some of my campaigns recently, and also
Mhm.
helping someone with them. So I was looking at this spring a little more critically than other parts, right? And the
Mhm.
one thing I noticed: greed spawn soldiers, fucking amazing art, love it, perfect. Downside: glaive doesn't have disarm. and they have a disarm reaction.
Mhm.
So that was a little weird to me. And then also you have these Trinity initiates that are level 8, and there's 8 of them. So is a GM going to be managing? And I'm looking at this as someone at a table, not like both table and online.
Mhm.
So is someone going to sit there and track 8 NPC spell lists
No,
that
make
go up
them a
to level
troop.
4?
Make them into a
That was what I wrote down. You should
Yep.
either have troops that might not just be wizards or other things, and then initiates kind of sound a little off, especially at level 8 or whatever.
Yeah,
And then I
that
agree.
comes down to the fact that Xanderghoul is extremely selective. Like a
Yeah.
level 8 character would be an initiate to him, but that's because he's kind of a hoity-toity asshole.
Yeah. And then, like you said about the last boss fight, which was, I loved how they actually gave really good combat, what's it called? Like tactics, right? I think that starting off with Wallstone is incredibly strong, especially if
Mhm.
the GM actually abuses its actual nature to like seal off NPCs from each other or partition like an encounter to the advantage.
Mhm.
That I enjoyed. And then also his spell list was really good. And then I think the only gripe I had about that fight was it was in
The
I'm
tiny room.
small.
The tiny
Yeah,
room.
tiniest
dude.
room.
Yeah,
So-
man.
That's
Yeah, too small for my
and
taste.
She
the
needs to get
thing
this
that
off.
I would change, that I would make the biggest change for, would be instead of that final trap, that trap that they find, the mythic trap or whatever, being just damage or whatever, instead it ports them into like an illusionary terrain. Someone could find their own art for whatever scene you want. If they succeed in disarming the trap before they get to it, they get to fight them in the small room and probably to their own advantage.
Mhm.
And then, or if they fail the trap, it's just you guys now fight in this predetermined arena or design from this tactician.
Mhm. And an illusory trap makes a ton of sense with Xanderghoul because he is an illusionist. Like he would totally set up crap like that for his minions.
So at least that was just me going through. I'm like, oh, that would actually be pretty cool. But then I looked at the area. I'm like, okay, so Wallstone, he could just literally make cubicles.
Mhm.
I'm gonna adjust the grid size to 100. It's currently set to 200. I want to see if it looks more accurate, and maybe Foundry did it wrong. But
Okay. Oh, they're tiny.
that they also look like the size of their chairs now, which looks more appropriate. But I think it's not quite right.
Oh yeah, that is quite a bit better.
But even still,
I
I
will
have no
say
qualms
in
with any of
sorry,
the
go ahead.
fights. I said I have no qualms with the fights. I think the fights are good.
Yeah, I think the fight is solid. I will give them credit here using Sinspawn and Lamias as the like if you've played the Runelord games before, this is awesome because these are like classic callback enemy types for this series of games. Like Sinspawn and Lamias are constant throughout the previous Runelord titles. So if you've played it before, it will give you that nostalgia trip, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, I think whoever designed the encounters did a really good job, like overall.
Yeah, I just wish there were more of them.
Yeah.
But then we report to Sorshan, and my only qualm with this is that you should not have to convince her that like evil stuff is about to happen. Like she is the second or third most powerful wizard on the planet. If she wants to know if you're lying or have been messed with in your brain, she would just know that. This should all I would say is like I like the social encounter, just make it a test. Like just make it a, oh, I know you're telling the truth, but I don't, but I need you to kind of prove that you're worthy of my interest, which doing that, like if you change it to that, she's already done that before in the Runelords series. She does that all the time.
We also know from this adventure that mythic beings such as the players can see what is called an echo in order to get certain like story hints and stuff like that. Sorcerin, being a mythic being herself, undoubtedly has seen echoes happen. So she knows something's about to happen. She doesn't know what, but I think she sees danger coming.
At the very least, she should, or she
Yeah.
should see the possibility.
Yeah, but if we have that ability as a player, she definitely has that ability as a mythic being.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. I interpreted the echoes thing more as a one-off effect of the mythic power of the Trinity Star specifically, not as a thing that you could do all the time. And the only reason I specifically interpret it that way is because I've also read book 2 and it does not come up again. Or at least it hasn't yet. So maybe it'll loop back around, but I don't hate
It usually
that as a mechanic.
doesn't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, what are these after the festivities and whatnot? I thought the elephant was the only thing from John DeLay. Why are there giant birds? Does he just have like an entire dimension of, well, I love destruction, one for each animal?
Not quite. I did have some complaints about the unveiling ceremony. I basically hate everything. I'm not trying to be an ass, but I don't like any of the like constructs run amok. It was boring. I didn't like it. The thesis argument is the only one that I enjoyed. I didn't really love the mechanics, but it plays upon this thing they've been doing with the Runelords, where the modern interpretation of like runic school of magic is very grad school coded, and I really like that this plays upon that like kind of restructuring of the theme in the idea of Runelords in the Age of Lost Omens. Then uninvited viewing happened, and I'm like, I'm sorry, we just spent 2.5 whole pages on nothing, on something that goes nowhere. This art gallery like thing, whatever, or this art gallery invasion, chase, infiltration, it doesn't need to be there. It's a complete waste of page space. These characters do not come back. Like, use this to introduce the 3 factions that you need to convince later on to help you become the leaders. Like, scrap all of these except the debate and replace them with introductions to the faction leaders later. It would be
And there would
so
be
much more efficient.
nothing. There'd be nothing to do in chapter 2 then.
Doesn't have to be.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it would give you more room to flesh out the actual Exodus, which
it would, because it's really
bare bones.
Rough. It's bad, man.
And I think the reason it's bare bones is because they have to use so much page time setting up a lot of this backstory. You know, that's a big, like, I feel bad for this writer because they have to do a lot of legwork to get players and GMs up to speed on what's going on.
That's probably why James usually writes the second book. Because
I haven't noticed that, but
well, it was
not saying you're wrong. I haven't paid attention to that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, this is the type of stuff like I, as the player and as a GM, don't enjoy. Just it's page space, and here's some very minute expositional dialogue, and this is like 12 pages. Like,
I've been removing a lot of it from my own games and just like completely omitting a lot of it, and there's been a little bit and then I'll try to like add something of my own and then try to tie in my own kind of like spin on something that they were trying to show, or just kind of look through some of the later books, right, when the adventure is just kind of like really picking up, and I'll find like one of the better events that are in the later books, and I'll just move it. And if it's something that's like, why are we here? This where it might have more actual like story to hang off of. But
and there's actually a good way to do that here, because in book 2 you need to go talk to a construct engineer. And that's the perfect opportunity to like retool this constructs amok event into, oh, you met one of this engineer's apprentices who lives in the city. Like, you now are on a named basis with one of his students. You could fix this. You could make it more efficient, but that's the kind of stuff you don't get when you have books broken up into 3s. You know, like
strongly
I'm not surprised that the authors didn't do that.
With a clockwork or something like that went haywire or something, and now it's like dangerous. And that's something that gets him like, hey, you owe me now. Like, oh
Yep.
man, I owe you something.
And there is such a long tradition of Thessalonian clockwork. I realize most of you haven't played this, but like the end of Shattered Star, the last book is like, hey, by the way, go fight this clockwork army. Like,
plus the clockwork contraption that held his body waiting for the soul to be
exactly.
inserted.
Like there's a grand tradition of this. You could so easily tie it in with just little tweaks and make it work.
Yeah,
See, like I don't know the significance of any of this, which is another.
Yeah, exactly. You're coming in blind, and like I said, this is.
Or
I wish they had two. Sorry, go ahead.
I just looked just at like the clockworks around this level, and you could have some clockwork assassins that from perhaps a competitor to that guy attempt to assassinate him.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely perfect. And guess what? They've used clockwork assassins in the Runelord series before. So for players who've done it before, it's a callback, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we do the festival, then we get assaulted by the cult at the unveiling.
And they're going to be a constant problem throughout the Exodus as well.
And then, boom.
Sorceren's gone. Like, snapped out of existence, put back into her box. We don't see her for a while.
So for those of you who know who Sorceran is, or who know at least that she's important, were you irritated by the fact that she is effectively fridged for most of the rest of the AP? Because I am of two minds about this.
He's too okay. I know nothing about her, but my assumption is, hey, I'm a CR 24 person, and if you let me free, I'm just gonna solve all the problems for you. The same reason why Hao Jin had to be swooped away in Ruby Phoenix, because she could have solved all the problems for you as well. It's just a problem of, hey, if we don't do this, there isn't an adventure. Sorry.
Yeah. Now
did
my
she
other
let herself get captured on purpose is my question. Because
I seriously doubt it. Only because if she did that, it probably implies that she knows who's capturing her, and if she knew it was Xanderghoul, she absolutely would not do it.
Okay.
Because he's the only one stronger than her. Like she is terrified of him. As she should be. But like I'm of two minds about it, because one, I'm like, okay, you had to take her off the map, because like if she's on the game board, she wins. You know, like she's way too strong. But also, Xanderghoul isn't an idiot, and the very first thing he would do is take her off the map. If he doesn't do that, he's stupid, and we know he's not that stupid. Like Elasnus did the exact same thing in Return of the Runelords, because if she doesn't do it, it's game over.
All right.
There's always a bigger dog. There's always a bigger fish. Whatever the saying you want.
I did like that the sinkhole was created by a doomsday door. Not super, like it feels like it comes out of nowhere. Again, if you've played Shattered Star, you're like, ooh, I know those are everywhere and those are a big deal. You know, again though, I'm guessing that seemed like it came out of left field for you, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot of it is just you can't build an AP on member because that holy shit, that sound I need to turn off.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you had it at 100%. Usually I have it at 20% set.
So loud.
Sorry.
I was my favorite reading outside.
No, that was the
really
sinkhole
loud.
going off as you heard the Alphonse of Jondelay. Sorry, guys.
What was I saying?
Can't build a campaign on, hey, remember this?
Yeah, exactly. Like sure, the scene's cool. Like set pieces are cool. But like you can't expect me to know any references. Like nothing.
Why is this giant elephant here?
Yeah, if I hadn't watched your video, I wouldn't even know that the Elephant of Jondelay was a thing, because that was one of the
and most people
things.
wouldn't. It's not like Tar-Baphon, where if he shows up, you're like, oh, I've only played like 2 APs, but I know who that is. You know, this is the Elephant of Jondelay. It's been mentioned in 1 AP and 2 books. Like that's it.
Is it the South Park? The member berries?
Yeah,
They just pick
exactly.
one.
Remember how Jin went to the Strength of Thousands campaign? I remember.
I
Oh,
remember.
no, that was
Remember
a Bramble.
Elephant?
That was a Bramble thing. That was not. That was
Yeah,
not
which
an
was
AP
awesome.
thing.
Which was awesome. You're good. You're good.
It made sense for her, and I'm not going to get into that. Getting back on, she's gone now. She was queen, but she was far enough removed that the people can rule themselves. The 3 leaders that you need to talk to basically will take everyone to Velker's Crossing. Velker's Crossing was also in Return of the Runelords or Rise of the Runelords. It was like a dwarven thing between 3 brothers. Now it's an entire town of 9,000 people. I mean, I don't see
About
why,
to be 19.
I don't see how they're going to even humor 10,000 refugees or have the supplies and everything offhand, but the AP's like, that's where your obligation ends. It's just like,
If they all make it, because God, like these punishments of just like treating thousands of lives, man, we did it in Strength of Thousands at the end of Strength of Thousands too, and it drives me nuts. The way that they handle like mass amounts of life with just like, if you rolled poorly, I guess 5,000 people are dead. Like, okay.
Yeah, I never thought I would say this, but I really preferred the way they did something like this in Triumph of the Tusk, which I realize sounds
Oh,
blasphemous
yeah.
because that is
Caravan
not a
points.
great AP, but the caravan points actually worked a little bit better, I thought.
It was the first thing I thought of when I thought of this was the caravan points. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean the same thing. It's a better system. TLDR, we move on to chapter 2. Evacuate the city. You need to be put in charge. You've got to, for some reason, convince a bunch of leaders in the city whom
Why do you
are
need to
already the
convince
leaders of the city. I don't know. They're already the leaders of the city. They rule and have power and government. These are like people who govern 10,000 people, and we need to be like, it's just typical like
They know they
influence.
need to move. They know they need to go.
Yeah, the city will die. Like it's gonna collapse. Essentially, they need to go.
It's more of just like, you're the main character. You need to lead them stuff that they write into these things.
Yep.
And I hate to say, I don't like it. I didn't like anything about chapter 2
This
at
is
all.
the trial of the mythic quest. This is your trial that you overcome. It's baked into every mythic path.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna but your reward at the end is like
a dragon
okay,
fight.
no one died. No one died. You gain no mythic points. Like, that's it. Nothing happens. Like, everyone's dead. You just gain no mythic points, and then like everyone survives. You're like, you gain 3 mythic points and 120 experience. And you're like, okay.
You know how you mentioned earlier, like you would move the like talking to the leaders to like the first chapter, right? Now imagine if the second chapter or whatever, you now had to pick from those leaders, which like you had a choice of which one to save or whatever, or so now it was a decision of like, okay, well, we know what their ideals are. We have to we have to pick one of them now.
Yep. And that's even like, this is my like short edit of like, move a challenge pertaining to each faction leader into the celebration. My okay, I'm playing this for the group I've GM'd for 18 years, and we've played all the Runelords one. What I would do is I would write a Adventure 0 that is the levels 10 to 12 that are in Zin Eurythnia, where you have missions for each of these leaders and you can build up points.
Sounds great.
Yeah, but it's an insane amount of work, but that's what I would want to do. Like Zin, like what most of you probably don't know is like Zin Shalast is the perfect dungeon city because it was built layer by layer over 1,000 years, and it was built by giants, so the bottom layers are still really strong. It is like hundreds of feet deep, and the lower layers are completely abandoned. So like, there's dungeons under this city. You could do missions in there easy and just rip dungeon. Like, you could put the entire abomination vaults inside this city and it would fit. Like, geographically, it would fit. Like, you could do a bunch of stuff down there really easily and do like level 2 levels, 10 to 12, learn about the faction leaders, and then when you get to the chase, if you are in good shape with them, they keep their people under wraps, and like you don't have to do additional challenges. Or if you don't have a good standing with them, they are not listening to you and they are going off on their own and
Following
causing
the
additional problems for you.
But the problem is that there's no real penalty for losing them. And at the end of the chapter, it says your responsibility over these people ends at the end of this chapter. You have 2 weeks of downtime as the people establish themselves and move off on their own, move to other safe havens and cities, because the crossing can't handle that many people. Like, it literally doesn't matter. It does not matter if any of them survive. It doesn't matter who you side with. It doesn't matter about any faction leaders.
Even if you get the worst possible outcome, it says Sorcerin will have to start again. Like it was a personal project, not people's lives.
Like the city doesn't come back. Okay. Okay, that's my punishment. Like, unless this city has significant impact in like book 3, and you failing this role and then not rebuilding the city has impact, like otherwise it means nothing.
I don't think,
and that sucks.
Back.
Yeah, it's strugglesome. I think there are some events in book 2 that you could potentially like pull the faction leaders and their agents back into for, but it's not written down. You would have to make that connection yourself. And that would be on the GM to like actively seek that out.
Yeah, and I think that's the other problem of, it would be cool to introduce the faction leaders early, but you're just going to abandon them at saying the second chapter 2 is over because you've got to go meet with the dragon. Like,
well, the dragon fight is very cool. The thing I didn't realize,
oh gosh, so cool,
who Kroon is and why everyone was crooning for Kroon. I heard about it secondhand at first, and I'm going like, is he a Runelord?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Before we get to the dragon fight, I did like the pyroclastic Mukrati before you start that big fire centipede. That was a cool fight. I thought that was awesome.
Well, it also increases the like grave omens and things are getting worse and cataclysms to come, and all of the like giant creatures you see off on the mountains just standing, looming, watching you. Like, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
they
awesome.
Get the visuals down very well. They have. I will give them that. They have a lot of really good set pieces and visual like.
Yes.
Hey,
they nailed the end of the world atmosphere.
Yeah.
And without Svenka and her wards.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Svenka, that purple lady. She's Rise of the Runelords. But again, if you haven't played it, it's member berries.
So without Sorcerin in play, nothing is defending these people. The wards aren't up. You know, like this paradise is gone. The society can't exist, and now they have to move on. We've gotten to the point where they ultimately can't be delivered until Kroon is defeated, because he's literally been sent to stop the players from succeeding in what Sorcerin was sent out to do, which is kind of petty. Why would Xanderghoul care about the players at this point when they're so minuscule?
This is on brand. He is a petty bitch. And I say that with love. Like, I say that with love for his character. He is a petty asshole.
Have you seen his collar?
This is just who he is. This is excellent writing for him.
So
the reason the Runelords are back is because Xanderghoul figured out how to basically create living illusions of each of them and make them his servants, which is the most Xanderghoul thing he could have possibly done. Because to him, he is the king of Thassalon. It doesn't have a king, but he is the king. All of them are subservient to him. They just don't know it yet. That is his like brain in a nutshell.
And Sorcerin opposed
that is why he does this.
By being queen, she undermined his authority.
Exactly. But yeah, you get Kroon and Krenlith. Kroon is the last Runelord of Sloth. He's actually a PFS scenario thing. If you've played the PFS stuff from 2013, which is, I'm guessing, like all of 100 people. No shade to PFS, I just don't play it. But if you've played that, you know who Kroon is. Otherwise, even if you've played the entire Runelords trilogy, you've never fought him before. He's mostly off screen. Krenlith is one of those guys we know basically nothing about, so I was honestly shocked that he showed up. Good art though.
Yeah, his eyebrows are gone.
He has some of the best art, I think.
The Runelord art actually gets better in book 2. I am not in love with the style they chose for this book, but I like it better in the next book.
I think it's more cohesive than some of the ones we've seen. I think it stands together. We haven't seen anything so desperately off
Not
style.
like Triumph of the Tusk.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah,
like Triumph
yeah.
of the Tusk.
And then from this point, when we get into the Secrets of Pride, where we go into the investigation of what happened with this, the star and who came out of it and everything, the maps kind of take a downward turn. We get a lot of gray.
They
Oh my
kind of
gosh.
suck, I will say. But
So
like you're fighting on a giant fucking dragon. Like I'm gonna get my own map, and it's gonna be much better than whatever they gave me.
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, they give you what I wish they did was they could have done the map, or they could have used some of their other maps or whatever, right? They could have found in their giant library of it and been like, hey, here's what the map is, or you could use this other one, which they did on some Starfinder Society, where they would have like, here's a map, or we recommend you use this flip map.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And also, I wish they or somehow they should have at least given like the a dragon model for those who use VTTs to just make something to like give it to us. And also, this one square is 5 feet for this Dragon Hunters one. That's a small little map. A dragon can fly across that, and you know, you're just doing suicides across it like it's a basketball field.
150 fly speed on this small a map is not going to cut it.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I'll be honest, I play physical, so like I didn't really I draw all my own maps, so I didn't really take note. I mean, you're absolutely right, the maps suck, but like it didn't really bother me, but that's because I'm paper on a white, or I'm, marker on a whiteboard guy.
Yeah.
And the way I would do this is I would just print out a dragon and draw a grid line on him, and I would move, and I would print out other dragons, and I would have the character stand on those pieces of paper and move them around.
The set piece they set up, awesome. The way they describe all of the encounters, very cool. What they provided for the encounter, but I think that's the same with like a lot of these maps. Like, are they the best? No, they know they're not the best. They know you can go find better maps online. You're still paying for it.
This is not what I would fix. This is not the first thing I would fix. Not even close. Heck
no. But here's the funny thing:
maps, and at least I can copy them. And the grids don't match perfectly. It's you're able to work with it. The problem is when I tested these that you could actually, they don't keep the labels. Some of theirs still keep the labels regardless of what you do, which kind of ruins it for VTT.
Yeah, with the secret doors and stuff.
They did it for this one. This one was fine. I actually think that as long as they allow the maps to be of decent quality for what they have, and I like splitting them into the 4 like they did to at least give, for specific encounters, that was fine. I liked it. So I agree on that. The map's definitely not the first thing to fix. And holy shit, North is North.
My biggest question is like, see, I don't know who any of these people are, so I don't know what to fix. What if you know nothing about who anything is? I don't know what I'm supposed to fix.
Yeah.
I would lean into that a little bit if I knew my players knew nothing. I would have them introduce themselves every time, like, I am the Runelord of blah, 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 and you just shoot them before they can finish their speech.
Okay, you joke about that, but that is exactly what the Runelords would do. This, especially if they're all created by Xanderghoul, this is exactly what they would do.
Like,
write a monologue for every single one.
Yes.
Yeah. I was when I was looking at this, like, man, if I was starting this today, and I need a reason for why the characters were starting at like level 12 or whatever, fuck it, dude. We're going isekai route. You all just got plucked out of your your real world. Now you're this mythic
Time
adventurers.
lost.
Figure it out.
And
That's
see,
the
that would be
perfect
fun.
Mythic calling. Mythic Destiny right there gives you a chance to play a Starfinder character or a character from another world. That fits perfectly.
Well, I mean, like they're just all like all the that's the where their characters came from. They picked their own mythic path. But yeah, that would be like, here you guys go. The reason you're here is whatever your life was before, it doesn't matter. Now you're here.
Mhm.
And just kind of laying into it of them not knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
And you could play that and like them just like, I'm gonna go like, hey, what do you mean you don't know about this person? Yeah, I don't know. Well, and like 1654.
Maybe that's
Time
why
for
Lilaru,
expositional dialogue.
maybe that's why Lilaru exists. She isekais you in here, and every night when you go to bed, it's just like, I see you've killed the Rune Lord of such and such. Would you like to learn more? No. Please let me go to sleep. Okay, I'll ask you again tomorrow night.
PC's head just bobbing, waiting for your response for that or something.
Oh, man.
So we get them here, and now we go meet with an omen dragon who shows us our fate.
This is awesome. I love that you get an omen dragon who's insanely powerful. And then the AP's like, by the way, your characters are so strong that he will die if he helps you. What a
Yes.
great way to make the characters feel insanely powerful.
And you know what happens when he tries to scry on Xanderghoul? DC 50.
Yeah, have fun with 15 d6 or whatever it was, or 15 d12. You
He's
take
not
a
gonna
lot of
make it.
damage.
He's going to take
Yeah,
32.
Yeah. So it's pretty neat. His art is awesome. And
Yeah,
then you go
super
like
cool.
fly.
It's a lot.
And like I wasn't terribly impressed with chapter 3 either. I hate to say.
I liked the investigation of the star and the art involving the store, because you see someone was trapped inside and you're going like, oh my god, who is it? And you kind of get the clues and everything, and it's just like a woman found him and he possessed the woman. And it's just like, but it's Xanderghoul. He must have changed her body somewhere along the way when his soul possessed her. And it's just like, that is exceptionally cruel. He lured her there. Just to get someone powerful enough just to start all over again.
Yeah, I really enjoyed chapter 3. This was the part that chapter 3 is what saves the book for me, because I love the introduction. I really didn't like anything until the end of chapter 2, and then chapter 3 I was like, oh, we're back. Okay, cool. This was really fun for me. I enjoyed the investigation. I thought the maps were, if a little boring, I thought they were fine. They felt like an ancient ruin underground. You know, they felt realistic-ish. And then the Eye of Arrogance, I was just like, oh, okay, cool. We're good. I'm gonna have a ball.
All the statues are Xanderghoul.
Yep. No, we didn't reuse these assets to save money. Nope. This is just the kind of asshole that this guy is. The Pride Spawn art is really good.
Oh yeah, it's like an egg.
A Foundry did a pretty good job at upscaling this one, actually.
Yeah, it's so much better
in the book.
I like that they're detailed Xanderghouls instead of just like the regular like armored looking figured golems and everything.
My biggest issue, Bramble, you and I already talked about this. My biggest issue with this fight is that you're just fighting two Runelords who have very similar stat blocks to the ones you've already fought.
Yeah, they should be the
It's
level
not-
14 version.
And here's
I
the
don't know
worst
if they
part.
need to go that far, but they definitely need to have more of an identity, because like these guys should feel different because they are the Blaster Runelords. They're Runelords of Wrath. They should hit you with fireballs. The art is rock solid on these guys. Like, this is awesome. But like Angothane and Thibodeos, if you've played Return, you know who they are. You have fought them before, kind of. If you haven't, they're just blaster wizards, which is fine. But you should, I think, Bramble, you suggested using something with the statues.
Yes.
Like turn them into part of the encounter. Maybe give these guys the ability to blast from the statues or something, or manipulate the falling rune well. Because the rune well hazard is pretty decent, but like if you just stay on the other side of the map, you're fine.
Right. They should be able to absorb power that's bleeding out of the well and go like, I will show you the true power of a Runelord. So they can take something from the mythic well and, you know, maybe get a mythic point and just blast you with that. You know, like show the players that these guys were the cream of the crop.
So, as someone who doesn't know who they are, it to me just comes like, all right, we're just checking them off a list. Like, I don't care. 1 Runelord, 2 Runelord, 3 Runelord, 4, 5. We've killed like what, 6 of them by now? I don't care.
Yeah, and they need to have a more unique identity. Like one of the things I'm playing with is like, okay, what do I do to give every single one of these guys a unique identity? Like I know Thibodeus loved snakes. Cool. How do I give him a snake power? You know, I know Angothane was a follower of Nocticula, like the demon lord of seduction. Okay, how do I make him have a weird succubus thing that helps him in a fight? You know, like what can I do to give these guys more identity that feels more unique rather than just like, we just fought the same wizard 7 times and apparently they were unique.
Which is how I read it, right? Because it's really unfortunate. The author tries their best, and in like the player's guide, I felt like the player's guide did a really good job. Honest,
yeah, this player's guide was awesome. It was really good.
But like it's not enough. It doesn't help, and the author. It really struggles with, because like before an encounter, you'll give me forward facing information on who these guys are. They say 3 lines to the player, if a line at all, and then they die. The player doesn't know anything at all.
Yep. This is where I would do my thing that I do at my table, which is my monologue rule. I would write so many monologues for these guys just because it's who they are, you know, like this is who they are. It gives them some kind of identity, but like even that's going to get real stale after you fight like 10 of these guys.
Right, your players are like,
they keep coming.
Next.
Like, yep, exactly. It's like, okay, you got your anime character introduction. Who's next?
Yeah, that's when they just have like before they're walking up, their illusions are doing it. So they can't get rid of it.
It would be funny though if you play on that and eventually they're just like tired of it. They're like, look, I have to follow my pre-programmed illusion routine, but like, can we just fight, please?
They're Mr. Meeksies for Xanderghoul, basically.
Maybe if they get a full monologue, they get a mythic point.
Players should get a mythic point for sitting there through it. Yeah.
Oh, that would be good too. You'd be like, hold on, don't hit me just yet. If I finish, you get a mythic point.
I actually do that. I freeze time during my monologue rule is very simple. If you let me finish my monologue, all of time stops, your buffs stay, and I will tell you you're about to walk into a monologue zone so you can pre-buff. Like, this is what I do so that my writing doesn't go to waste.
I feel like that a lot.
Yeah, it sucks too, because your players like walk into a room and they're like, I don't care about the room. You don't need to read me anything. Let me kill him. And I'm like, okay.
That's happened before. Yep, that's definitely happened.
And like some APs, it's totally fine. This is not one of those, or at least I don't think it should be.
Which is where at the end of this AP, me reading book 1, I came away with it with cool, but I still don't know who you are. Like, you've told me who Xanderghoul is. I understand. I'm not an idiot. Like, we're trying to build these characters up, but it really is going to heavily, like, if you don't have players who are paying attention, this is going to be a rough one, man.
Yeah. Yep.
I feel what brain, like, so custom campaigns or something, right? Where someone does it all when tailors it to the group and doesn't follow APs or something. Most memorable things come into play of like something that, let's just say like an enemy, right? Has fought them and managed to, they think they get the advantage and then it escapes.
Mhm.
They will always remember that person. They,
Mhm.
they will hunt that person down to the ends of the earth.
Like Deborah. Yes.
Yep, they will remember that. And I feel they could have done that with, perhaps like have them appear and like escape or something just to like rub it in. And like you talked about the monologue or whatever, but a lot of it has to be, shown, not told, because sometimes when things are told, people forget. But if they're like shown it or whatever, that would have been more of a catch. And it's kind of hard to do that when you have so much to show. You can't just show it in an encounter or whatever. But they could have at least started to piece together different ideas of things through like kind of like this show and tell in encounters or events versus here's the background information. The NPC can tell them this and will tell them this. It's like, okay. Like, I guess I'll think that how I'd say that.
There's 3 sentences that these guys say. That's it.
Yep.
And then there's like 8 paragraphs that they tell you about them of all of their like who they are.
Yep.
So
I feel bad for the authors of this entire AP because they're gonna have to keep doing that. There's like 42 Runelords. Like if they did all of them.
Why?
I don't know if we're getting them all. We keep getting more in book 2, which I like, but that's because I know who they are.
So it's just going to be like it's going to be bloat at the end because it's not going to hit for most players. Like genuine, like census for you guys. What percentage of players do you think actually played the 1E that are currently playing 2E? That played the Runelords, because it's less than 5%.
I was going to say like 2-3, like 2-3.
It's my opinion, less than 5% have played them.
Some of my players weren't even alive back then.
Okay, well, all right. Thanks, man. Appreciate that one.
No, what game are you playing again?
Yeah, I'm biased. I'm biased because I get a lot of YouTube comments of people who are like, I play this, I played this, I want to keep playing this story, So my sample size is different, but
it's also those are the people that are specifically searching it out are already the people that are more engaged.
Exactly. Yep. It's like I said,
so
it's a
like
biased sample.
That's skewed. That's I don't know. I can't imagine, because I would venture to say most 2E players are 5E expats.
Yes.
I don't think there's any question about that. Most 2E players came over from 5E around like 2019 to 2022. That is the time frame that most 2E players. Most people don't even know who these people are. If you're going to introduce continuous Runelords over and over and over and over and over again, and we don't have the page space to do like 5 minutes of expositional dialogue and me to like monologue at you, this is going to get rough for your layman. Because like as a GM, like I've GM'd like 10, I don't know, tons of campaigns by now. I couldn't even tell you. But like this is going to be rough for me because I don't know who they are.
So I'm going to give him a little bit of credit here. It does. I know we're reviewing this book, not the future book.
Yeah, okay.
Book 2 does get better about this. Book 2 gets a lot better. Encounter density is way up. Campaign structure is completely different. Subsystems move very supplementary rather than like core mechanic of a chapter. It turns into like a classic Runelords campaign, which I know means nothing to some of you, but like that means dungeon crawl supplemented by subsystem for additional stuff. Like it's way more dungeon crawly. My only complaint is that we are all gas, no breaks from now on. Like they cram so much into the next book, you have no idea. But it does get better with how much they're trying to shove at you, if only because I don't know why it works better in the next one, but it's not quite as clunky. So just it will improve.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess this is more of what I would expect and want, is I would want more hands-on involvement of like showing
Xanderghoul what he's doing, because right now you're just
Mhm.
like, oh, okay, he's summoning these Runelords. Like, I got
Mhm.
that. Now I understand what he's
I
actually
want to
doing.
see the pettiness.
Yeah, what they could have done, I think, when we talk about that one encounter into the that first dungeon or whatever
Mhm.
with the stone wall and all that, they could have had that guy basically mount like an escape or have like a contingency go off that was like a teleport.
Mhm.
Um, after they either defeated him or whatever, and a lot of his like, he wasn't prepared for them, and then now when he comes back, they could have just maybe he got more of his powers back or somewhere. He's in a weakened state before, and now he's like maybe like a CR higher or two, and with a
Mhm.
whole lot more enemies. But now they already, so then they would know.
Well, so
like,
there's actually a
that.
really good way to do that. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you
Mhm.
off, but there's like a
Yep.
perfect way to do that because Gimel was the first and only Runelord to ever summon the Oliphant of Jondelay. Like, if he just escapes that encounter and like siphons off some of the Oliphant's power, you could easily say, nah, he just broke Xanderghoul's control. Now he's doing his own thing. Like,
Mhm.
like you could very easily say, nah, he's got this weird esoteric connection to this thing that Xanderghoul can't fully control yet. Like it would be really easy to just write like, hey, by the way, this is how he broke, and now he's your guy. He can be
Yep.
your recurring, he can be your Team Rocket, but he can also be your little exposition guy who's like, hey, by the way, this is what's going on. Now we fight again, and then I escape.
Yeah, or suddenly they get a telepathic message from him, and
Mhm.
he might tell them more, like kind of like secrets, or even say if you like, because enemy of enemy is my friend or whatever, and he might even
Mhm.
tell them like seek this, it could be a
Mhm.
location and to
Mhm.
like information or a previous place into the AP that is long like either collapsed or destroyed, and then but that's going into a whole other thing. But like I said, there's different paths they could have taken, because sometimes having a person go from an enemy, like a was it enemy, to like somewhat of an ally, he at least gives you information, and then
Character
eventually later
development
he's now your like an enemy.
with
Then
Yeah.
benefits.
He still doesn't like you, but he hates Xanderghoul more.
Yep.
Yes.
And you fucking punched him in the snoz. You punched him right in the nose. He's gonna get back at you somehow. But first, he's gonna get Xanderghoul.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
sort of
I
character.
think. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go, sir.
Oh no, mine is talking about like mythic campaigns and stuff. So if you're on that topic, let's continue with that.
I would very much like the idea of character development, not only from Sorcerin, but also from Xanderghoul, because Xanderghoul is the sort of person who has failed many times before. And I feel as though this is the culmination of not only his own chance to redeem his own image of himself, but to finally wipe the slate clean and go like, I have to destroy this world. I have to go somewhere else. There's too many reminders of my failures here. This world must burn.
Yeah, and the funny thing is he hasn't failed a lot. He's only failed twice, and they just both happen to have been in the last 10 years. Like that's like he never failed in ancient that like he did like he didn't necessarily always accomplish his goals, but like he never failed in a spectacular fashion. Like he failed to secure the throne of Aslan. Oh well, he failed to create a different method beyond the Runewell of surviving Earthfall. Oh well, he still survived. This like he got killed twice in the last 10 years. He is deeply embarrassed by that. Like this is the desperate like narcissist ego, like death of his own ego that he should be fighting. It would be fun to play him that way. I'm really curious to see how he's written in the third adventure.
I want to see him.
I'm excited
I wanted
to see
him sooner. I mean, like that remnant of the Echo and everything, we could have gotten a chance to see part of him, other than just an image.
Yeah, no, not happening. He's not in book 2 at all.
Damn.
I mean, that's par for the course for Paizo. They tease and don't show, and the villain gets 4 seconds of screen time before they die. It's just how it goes. Unfortunately.
The grand tradition of Paizo, or at least Runelord series. The same thing happened with Karzug, but at the same time, Karzug is very fondly remembered by the people who did play as AP. So, maybe there's Maybe a lot of GMs just give him the monologue rule, basically, and give him a lot more characterization.
Remember one character in Age of Ashes I had that just monologued on her turn for like 2 lines or whatever because there was no build up to her. She just appeared there and said, "I was a mastermind of this, but back when I was born in the like." There's like, who's this person?
There's actually a good actually thinking back. So Bramble, I like your idea of like the echo as a mechanic, because there's actually something that they did back in Shattered Star with Old Lord Zin. When you fight Old Lord Zin, he's the final boss, and what they did to give him characterization was you could encounter these visions as you explored his castle, and they would give you glimpses into his life. And I'm like, that is perfect. Like, they should do that more often because it's really efficient.
So, as the Peacock Spirit, aren't there pieces of him all over the place, like the Emerald Enclave and the Temple? Those places could hold echoes of him as well. Aren't we headed towards the Temple of the Peacock Spirit as Book 3 or whatever?
No, so the Emerald Chambers are not a temple of the Peacock Spirit. It's kind of a different thing. But there are temples of the Peacock Spirit around that you could go to, and the maps for them exist from Return of the Runelords. So you could do it if you wanted to. It's just not a part of the books yet.
That's a shame.
Let me rephrase that. It's not a part of these books. It's part of previous books, which might be why they're not doing it. They might consider it ground that narratively they've already explored, even if you, the players, haven't.
I understand.
Do we want to talk about any of the back matter at all, since we've kind of come to the end of the narrative?
Nocticula is a difficult subject for me to approach, but thankfully I have a Wrath of the Righteous veteran here with me to tell me what old Nocticula used to be. This guy who knows old Nocticula, how come he had nothing to say about new Nocticula?
I mean, new Nocticula didn't ascend until, what, the end of Wrath of the Righteous?
Right, and he came back. This guy came back and he's just like, all right, my deity, what the fuck happened to you?
She was okay. She got her. It's like a really long. Nocticula is a very complex character. I didn't read the back matter though. Is there stuff on her in it? Because
she gets the standard. She gets the 6-page deity article.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Means I have to remake my Nocticula video, but I can live with that.
Anything majorly new?
She is very much the goddess of outcasts. Anyone like politicians, artists, things like that have been forced out of normal society, she basically takes under her bosom, and Shellen and her are best friends because they're both artists.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's basically just way more detail on the new on her personality, which, like, the broad strokes of which we already kind of knew, but like there's new aphorisms. We have way more detail on her sacred text, but I didn't read anything that was like a huge change. It was just like, ooh, we know a lot more about her now. But if you understand her character arc, you've already got her figured out.
Okay.
It just
seemed sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I mean, my biggest complaint is that they do a 6-page article on Nocticula. Meanwhile, the Church of Nocticula has absolutely nothing to do with this story outside of the very beginning of the first chapter. Yeah. Like, Ayava is, I guess, important in the sense that she's your quest giver for the first quest, but like,
yes,
the Church of Nocticula it's basically the state religion in Xanderghoul, and I wouldn't know that.
Did they not do anything in War of the Immortals mentioning what happened to her after God's reign? So did they not? Is this why they're doing it now? Because they didn't mention anything for her?
I don't recall a major change to her story in War of Immortals. I haven't read all of the little interludes in a while, but I don't think any of them had to do with her. There was one that had something to do with Lasala, who has nothing to do with this AP, and I am pissed, but
don't worry, she's in Starfinder. She's in Starfinder. She's very
That's
much
great. I don't play that. She is literally the goddess of rune magic, and James Jacobs himself said she is not in this AP. I was pissed when I heard that.
Yeah.
So I imagine because you've read book 2, Nocticula, no mention, right?
No, well, okay. Not directly, but Ayava could be important. It's one of those things of like, hey, a number of NPC, your character. All right, we'll get to it. No direct mentions. There's potential for her to be relevant, but they did imply that she will be important in book 3. Like the ending of book 2 implies that the Church of Nocticula might be important in book 3. So maybe we'll see.
Minor question that is, I will leave incredibly vague because spoilers for other APs, but they've done this in a couple of APs recently, where NPCs are actually gods in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I seriously doubt this is that because Ayava she has existed since Return of the Runelords. Like they would have had to set that up in 2017.
Yeah, okay, probably not then.
So, seriously doubt it, but I would not be mad because I like it when they do that. But that's just a me thing.
So Xanderghoul is still a godling. He's not a full god.
Are you asking that or are you stating that?
I'm asking that at this point because he has come back from death several times.
He should be a full god, assuming the narrative doesn't make it fully clear. I'll have to check out his stat block, but he should be functioning as a full deity at this point.
Okay.
Unless coming back really knocked him down. Because like he was functioning as a full god when he was weaker than this in Return of the Runelords.
We're to presume that he absorbed, the Shard of Gorum and the powers from the Trinity Star and all that, right? When
Presumably,
he
yes.
fell into his... Okay, all right. Yeah, so I'm sure he's all jacked up on Mountain Dew, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm assuming he is a god in the sense of like can grant power, is on par with like the lesser deities, like the demigods, essentially. Your Arches, your Regathiels, your your Ashavas. Like not strong enough to go toe to toe with Sarenrae, but definitely strong enough to like fight the lords of hell. That's kind of where I assume he's at.
A Chakek 2, Electric Boogaloo, let's go.
A Chakek pre-2E, because pre-2E he was a demigod. 2E he's full god.
Yeah.
So
did we want to talk at all about the new Mythic Destinies? Because I like all of them except Heroic Scion.
I really like the Runelords one, the Rune Well at the end, but also that counter spell where you get to absorb the knowledge from the other person. That is so on point. I love it.
Yeah, super cool.
Time
Racked is cool, really powerful.
Yes.
It looks complicated to play.
That's okay. It basically gives you permission to play a Starfinder character in Pathfinder. You just can't explain anything about, where you came from. It's just like, I have a gun. You have to accept it.
And then I like Warshard Warrior. The only thing I don't like is the level 20 feet. I am the weapon. They should have a second level 20 feet, but other than that, I'm fine.
The previous ones weren't that bad. The only things that are bad are Beast Lord, where it doesn't really feel like Beast Lord has a place to shine in this AP.
Champion archetype that was released in War of Immortals has a better capstone ability than Beast Lord does. Just saying.
Oh no, are you saying summons animal companions are weak in 2E? Whoa.
Well, I'm saying they're not mythic like their masters, which really hampers things.
That's disappointing.
It is, because if they're not capable of doing mythic damage, they cannot overcome mythic resistance. It's like having a kineticist use their blast, doing nothing every round.
Yeah, I'm still mad they haven't fixed how kineticists work.
They said they would get to it eventually, but have never done wordage fixing because they're not strikes. Like, can we do? Can we fix that, please?
The Mythic AP is out. Get to it, please.
It's really annoying to have these random rules where, like, yeah, sorry, you don't do strikes, so you don't interact. Like, oh, hey, we released
a character class that can command people to make strikes and cast spells, but we forgot to mention kinetics again
Mm-hmm.
with our commander.
It's really frustrating.
Why?
The class is so well designed, except for that one thing.
Yeah. Now we're just straying into Paizo silliness. But
Yeah.
overall, my opinion on this adventure as standalone with no knowledge of Runelords, it is serviceable. I think the players would have fun, but I think they would be confused and have no idea who any of these people are. No one would mean anything to anyone. They would be nameless NPCs that get killed, and it is only there for that was a cool set piece. That is it. They will have nothing else.
That is an
My opinion.
incredibly fair assessment. Obviously, I come in with a lot more understanding of who these characters are. Like me, the lore nerd, reading this, I was like, this is awesome. And then I read chapter 2 and I was like, this is boring. And then I read chapter 3 and I was like, oh, this is cool again. But like overall, like to me, and again, this is me coming in having done all of the homework that you can do about the Runelords. This is a 6 that I can easily turn into a 7. It's challenging, but not unreasonable to turn into an 8. If I wanted to turn it into a 9, I would basically be writing an entire extra chapter that I would bolt on to the beginning of this in order to make it really, 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 really good. And that's disappointing, but it's okay. Like it's fine. I feel bad because this should not have been the first Mythic AP that they released. It should have been the second one. They should have written a generic Mythic AP, you know, a Wrath of the Righteous set somewhere else in the world that you don't need backstory for, and then they should have written this so that players who want Mythic can do 2 things. Now players who want Mythic have to play this, and if you didn't do the Runelords homework, which most people didn't, like you said, you're lost. Or you have to go to my YouTube channel and watch 13 hours of content, which is not reasonable for most people to do.
Well, here's the other qualm to that, and I will reverse it on you. What if your player does all of that research and watches like 16 hours of Runelords content, but your GM doesn't?
Yeah.
If one person does it and it's the GM, it's fine. If one player does it and no one else does, you're screwed.
That's some dangerous territory.
So I hope that this AP succeeds, but as it stands on its own,
I'm going to give you a little bit of hope. Book 2 is so much better. Book 2 for me is like a strong 7 to a low 8, and it would not be that hard to make it a strong 8. Like I really like Book 2.
Okay. Comes out on the 6th, right? Something soon.
I forget what date. I got my subscriber copy. So
yeah.
It is going to be the 12th, I believe. I will have it available.
Okay.
I don't have the subscription because the only reason I don't have this subscription is because there's no PDF or virtual only subscription. I don't want a book delivered every month that I don't have living space for. But
I'm making my shelves bigger to resolve that problem.
Hello, IKEA. Getting the the IKEA perfect book fit shelves. It's a bunch of those.
I do that. You could just craft a room well, and then boom, you have infinite space.
Yeah, you right.
Well, I do want to say thank you very much for joining us tonight, Podfinder, and helping us to understand who the Runelords are, and some interesting tidbits. Even if we didn't come with the same knowledge and preparation that you did, it really did help having you here to touch on some of the things and provide the perspective. Nictorak really took charge and got into the nitty-gritty of everything, so thank you for that, Nick. I do appreciate you spearheading things like that and being honest, being brutally honest with us about who these people are and whether or not we care. Quaid, thank you very much for coming and enabling your perspective, because it really does help to have more GMs here to see things from the perspective of what can be fixed, what needs to be fixed, and also what you think players would find attractive. Tony.
Xanderghoul. I mean, Wes.
But Xander,
Who? No.
What? Sorry.
Tony, thank you so much. I know things are so busy for you. It really did mean a lot for you to come in and just like weigh in.
I'll be real. Hearing in the whole discussion and to hear that, well, for one, to see all the point of view, but to also be excited for a non-existent session 0 of going into this world's underdwellings that has. It reminds me of Bloodborne, if anyone played that, where you
Yes.
you go into the older tombs of Yharnam, and you get to uncover the lore and whatnot. If that was in the AP prior to you being in this realm, I think 100% I would be for this.
See, that would be a perfect Mythic 1 through 10 where you can just find your Mythic calling and go into this. Go ahead, Quaid.
I was gonna say, I think I know. I think Tony Tony would get his intro. Wake the fuck up, Tony. You got Runelords to slay.
Here I go.
And then he somehow, and then he just ends up as like, and then he's just like playing like a Cloister cleric again.
Again.
Sailor Moon with like a Sailor Moon. Like,
It's heroic
I'm
Scion
picturing-
for
I'm-
you.
Yes.
I'm picturing the party rolling up on the back of their Omen Dragon. Get in, loser. We got Xanderghoul to kill.
Yeah, perfect. I have one mild question for you, Phil, before we end, because I don't know. Like, there's not a lot that I would fix here other than like standard GM stuff. Easy. But like, because I don't know the Runelords, could you tell a listener like what you would change as someone who's heavily invested into the Runelords beyond just changing the, you know, the faction leaders at the beginning? Because
for sure.
not knowing who any of these people are, I don't understand how to change something or what is important.
Yep, no problem. So I'm actually putting this together. So I don't know if Nick, if you watch any of my videos, but I actually do this at the end of my player's guide videos, and I'm working on the one for this campaign already. But I've been putting a little bit of thought into this. The first thing I would do, this is my perfect world. This is not what I suggest every GM does. This is how I, the crazy person, would do it. There should be a level 10-2 pre-adventure, which is in Xanderghoul fighting through basically like the little mini Underdark that exists within this city, and you should be introducing the Cult of the Trinity Star as like this kind of shadow organization that your players can fight, and you should also be introducing the factions that run in the town. What that does is it helps to kind of establish Xanderghoul, because we've been here before. We as players, like as a community, have been here before. This is the final dungeon of Rise of the Runelords, this city, and then the castle at the end of it. Like this is the final book. So like it would be really cool to explore the city in a way that we didn't get to, and like see like, hey, the clockwork is waking up. The magic academies, like all the magic grad students are debating. Like that's what I would do. And what you can do with that is you can introduce like, hey, by the way, you guys just walked by this like big mural of this guy called Runelord Gimmel summoning what's this giant elephant? Like you drop all that stuff in through the scenery because it does exist in the world. Like the Runelords painted pictures of themselves. They commissioned artwork of themselves. All of that exists. So you can really lay the groundwork for some of these guys, Gimmel in particular. And then you get to like the battle between Xanderghoul and Sorshin. I don't know that I change a ton of that. Ayava, I would absolutely expand the Church of Nocticula because it is the state religion here, and I would also like expand on the fact that like this city is like, to your point, you don't have stakes necessarily for like wanting to save these 10,000 people other than like it's 10,000 people, but it's just a number. Like you need to show that like, no, Zinshilast is actually a really good place to live now because the Church of Nocticula takes everybody. It takes Nephilim. It takes like a huge number of half-orcs have fled here from Belkzen and orcs because like they're accepted here. You know, if they don't want to be warriors, they can come here and be safe. Like there's a lot of ways you could show off Sorshin's personal growth, even without interacting with her. Because I don't necessarily think keeping her off screen is a bad idea. She's busy, you know. Trinity initiates, all that stuff is fine. I don't hate any of it. What I would do is every Rune Lord would get a unique thing that makes them special, because right now Gimel is just like every other Rune Lord of Greed. He should have something relating to John Delay. Like all of the other Rune Lords you fight, like Kroon should have this giant feathered serpent that he very famously figured out how to make. Like all of there's enough information on each of the Rune Lords, or most of them, not all of them. There's enough information on most of them that like you could give each of them just like this tiny little unique ability, and it would speak to their specific character, so that not all the Rune Lords of Sloth were exactly the same stat block. Like that is the work that I think you would need to put in to really make this work, to make this work and make it work well, to be better. Does that kind of explain what I would do? I realize that's all like a lot of work, but that's what I would want to do if I was running this for a group of players and wanted it to be as good as I could make it.
See, when you said that,
I mean, TLDR, homework.
Yeah, it's homework. It's homework, and it's customizing it's homework. It's adding the first 2 chapters, and then it's customizing the encounters to feel a little bit more unique. And then it's the thing I always do, which is write the overly dramatic like cut scene that introduces these players. Like I would introduce Angothane and Thibodeus not when the players meet them, but I would actually do like a cut scene that the players get to experience as players, but the characters don't actually get to see it. Love like Thibodeus and Angothane would absolutely hate each other, and they would be arguing all the time. Because they both have horrible tempers, and Thibodeus would absolutely think Angothane is an idiot. Because he was stupid. But like I would show a cutscene of them arguing, of like really demonstrate like what the sin of wrath looks like for these people. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of work I would do.
See, you could do that through the Echo. That would allow you to at least see the memories of the people you've killed, or at least, you know, like where they've walked and whatnot, when you see those murals and other things that the Rune Lords had left behind.
Well, and even if you didn't want to use the Echo, like we know that the rune well dimensions exist kind of sort of outside of time, because like you can stay in there for 10,000 years and you won't go crazy. You know, like that's what the Rune Lords do. They sit in these dimensions for 10,000 years and somehow they don't go insane. Like the time just passes. Like they know it's been a long time intrinsically, but they don't go crazy. So obviously, like when you enter this, you could just get a glimpse of like what they've been doing, and it wouldn't break the narrative.
Well, thank you for that. That is incredibly helpful.
Has there ever been a Rune Lord that like I don't know why I'm thinking this is a goddamn egg, but like is there ever one that went rotten? Corrupted in a weird way?
The first one that handed out the Alakines to everybody, yeah.
Yeah, all of the Rune Lords have been, I mean, they're all corrupt. They're all evil. They've all been consumed by their own wickedness. But like, I guess I need more specificity.
I mean, I guess corrupt for like what they would consider corrupt, right? You know, like, I don't know, like something more demonic, or even like if we go like Cthulhu-esque, you know, like
yeah. So actually, a lot of the Rune Lords have made deals with elder gods. Famously, the Rune Lords of Greed. Like one of the reasons that you may or may not have noticed, like Zinshalast, now Zinurithnia, exists up in this mountain, and they have these towers that give them like atmosphere and stuff. The reason it is built all the way up there is because there's this, you can't just teleport there. There's this dimensional connection between the location of the city and the nightmare realm of Leng, which is that's where the Cthulhu mythos stuff, not all of it, but that's a part of it. So like the Rune Lords of Greed very famously have all of these connections to like eldritch horror deities. They connect with the people of Leng. That's where they got a lot of their time manipulation magic from. They pull in a lot of that stuff. I mean, Gimel was considered super dangerous in that he summoned the Oliphant of Jondelay, but he wasn't like over the line because he did it for a good-ish reason. Basically, Thassalon was going to be destroyed by an invading army. Actually, Angathane, the one we fight near the end of this with Thibodeos in the final boss fight, like he's considered one of the ones who really fucked up because he accidentally kind of sold his autonomy to Nocticula and then almost triggered a full-scale civil war between all 7 Runelords. Xanderghoul personally killed him because he messed up so bad, and then 2 other ones for good measure. Yeah. So like that's about as far as they go. Usually when they fall that far, they kind of take each other out. The one who went the worst was definitely Alasnist, the villain of Return of the Runelords, because she kind of broke the one rule and she messed with the time stream. But by that time, I mean, you're in the Age of Lost Omens. None of the other Runelords were going to stand up to her.
See, these guys have so much freaking history that I don't know anything about. And
I wrote 121,000 words on their history. So yes, there's a lot there.
And eventually it would behoove me to learn this, but I think I will continue blind.
Yes.
And
please do.
Not look at anything for the next 2 books, because the dichotomy of like my point of view and yours,
it's going to be good for discussion, I think.
Yes.
And the thing is, how I like going over this now with everyone, I feel that when Paizo wrote this, my opinion, or like when they pitched this idea, they had in their mind like Podfighter being the people running it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
or James Jacobs, honestly,
like they're like, these are the people that are going to run this, except that I think majority won't. I think majority will definitely have either none, or at most some, and it might be a mix of 1E, or I think it'll probably either be 2E information or the 1E information of people like, oh, 2E has a mythic thing. You guys want to come back? It's the Runelord thing. It's finally the climax. We'll just run through the Return of the Sandpoint and this. They'll like, I think people who've done this in 1E, when they see that like this whole thing's concluded, they might just binge both the APs.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that's where people are gonna. I think there'll be a lot of people that do that, and they'll have a lot of fun because they'll probably be learning 2E more than they're gonna be learning the lore versus it's the opposite.
My concern is coming from a player's point of view. If you don't know anything about the Runelords, you're coming into it, you're playing, you're like, hell yeah, let's play Mythic. I want to play a Mythic character.
Mm-hmm.
None of the encounters in this first book feel Mythic at all.
That one of the things that I tried to determine, could a standard party finish this book without Mythic?
Well, it even says that you can do it at the beginning of the book. Like, if the GM chooses not to use Mythic rules, the campaign can be run without Mythic. It just says to like give out extra hero points in lieu of Mythic points, and you may need to adjust some of the like boss encounters. But that it literally states in the book you don't even have to use the Mythic rules.
That'd be fun to try out.
Sorry, go ahead. Finish your.
No, I was just gonna. You're good. I got nothing else.
I think there were some encounters to me that felt really Mythic. Like, I don't know why, but the big fire centipede really stood out to me as like, oh, this is a Mythic fight. This feels really big to me. The other thing that felt big to me, not in execution, but in narrative, was the leading of the mass exodus, because the first thing that I'm like, oh, I'm living through the actual book of Exodus. Like, that's what my character is being Moses right now, definitionally mythical, like this. The execution didn't land, but the idea was there, like the concept hit. And now for me, the actual Runelord fights do feel Mythic, but that's because I know who they are. Getting back to your point of like, if your player doesn't know that, it doesn't feel Mythic. If you do know that you're fighting, like the final boss fight, you're fighting 2 of the most powerful blaster casters who ever lived. It's like
Frieza and Cell teaming up at the same time.
Yep,
oh my god!
Mm-hmm.
Right, like totally. If you understand who they are, I get it. It's like I got chills right now, bro. This is insane. But if you don't,
exactly,
it's kind of slept on.
Well, I Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think that's it. I think we're recycling some of the other stuff we said now.
I think Phil's given us far too much of his time, especially with what we've been discussing. But thank you, everyone, and thank you, Phil. Thank you, Nictorak. Thank you, Quaid. Thank you, Tony. This was better than I considered. I want to be honest. That's why I decided to make the dice set and the card backings and everything with it. Wanted to add something to it. I had no idea that when Phil said he would add things to the campaign, it would be to that degree, though. Man, that's not what I was intending, having that pre-adventure, but it is a good idea. I'm not willing to do that level of work, though. I'll stick to the dice and everything else.
I feel like it's sincerely, if there ever is a session 0 that I can see myself jumping into this campaign with that. That sounds phenomenal.
Shall we say goodnight and remind people to set back their clocks?
I think we should.
I
Yep.
hope so. I hope people do that. I have a game tomorrow, and the UK time clock got was took another victim.
Screwed up a game. Yeah.
Yeah, and now we have the US one.
It's all good. At that point, we should all be synced up, right? Looks towards camera.
Sure.
Do we know when we're doing the next one? Are you aiming for the end of the month to give us like 2 weeks after release?
After Thanksgiving, I think would be best, because everyone's going to be busy preparing for things and family stuff anyway. I do not want to interrupt that. I will post a timestamp and we'll all give our consensus whether that is good or not.
And do you still have time for it with your break schedule?
You know, I made time for it on this week when I was working so much overtime and everything else. I didn't think I'd even be alive for this discussion. So yes.
You've GM'd 2 games today as well. It's been a long day.
Plus the errands and everything else. Oh, go ahead, Tony.
No, I was gonna say Bramble's a miracle worker sometimes. It's scary.
Just over there he's in the factory, dude, just fucking stamping those license plates, man, playing them, running them games.
I think it was because of all of you that I've been sticking with it and stuff. So thank you, each one of you again, because I was very much looking forward to this, and I did not want to be dead without, lifting my own weight in the discussion and whatnot. So thank you again, not to sound like a broken record. I'm very tired.
Alrighty, well, I'll see y'all next time. Thank you very much.
Have a
Thanks,
wonderful
everybody.
night.